Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. I hope you had a wonderful day today and wishing you all a very happy Sharad Purnima. Sharad Purnima is the most auspicious day because it is a very special day when Lord Shri Krishna performed Ras Leela with his gopis. So I'm sure you can also pray for the communion and attain the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah, Om Shri Saraswataya Namah, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namah, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namah, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. We'll continue from where we stopped, chapter 37, the description of the Chavadi ceremony. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra. My most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru Shri Sai Nath. Yesterday we just began the narration of the Chavadi procession. So let us start from that. But before that, Baba was giving a very important lesson as to how you need to attain the Parabrahman, devotional service to Baba, and how do you conduct your life in spirituality. Now let us first give the Chavadi description and sketch a general outline of its ceremonious proceedings. Every other day, Baba regularly slept in the Chavadi. One night, he slept in the mosque and the second in the Chavadi. Such was Baba's regular routine till his Samadhi. Later, from December 10, 1909, Baba's worship, bhajan and puja started in Chavadi. It is this ceremony in the Chavadi that we shall now describe to the best of our ability and by Sai's grace, which will provide the inspiration. It will be seen through to a proper conclusion. When it was the night for the Chavadi, the bhajan party would come to the mosque and then the bhajan used to be in progress from the afternoon itself in the Sabha Mandap. In the rear would be the beautiful sparkling chariot with the Tulsi Vrindavan to its right. Baba would be seated in front, while in the middle would be the devotee singers of bhajans. These devotees, both ladies and gentlemen, with a fondness for Hari Bhajan, would promptly come and take their places in the Sabha Mandap. Some would take up the tal in hand, others the chiplis. Some others would keep time by clapping. Some with tabors, yet others with tambourines would join in. And thus the bhajan would proceed amidst a great tumult of musical sounds. Sai Samarth, with his magnetic power, would draw to his feet the devotees as gross iron and without their being quite aware of it. The torch-bearers would then light their torches in the courtyard, where some would busy themselves decorating the palanquin. The staff-bearers, standing ready at the gate, would loudly proclaim, "Glory to Sai." The assembly place would be gaily decorated with leafy bows and flower garlands, banners flying high up in the sky, and a dressed-up seat, adorned with ornaments. Little children would flaunt their brand new clothes. It's like a festival. Any celebration of the Guru, it's always like a festival. The joy you get in preparing for the festival, decorating, it's incredible. In Krishna Ashram too, during Guru Purnima, we all come together 1 month in advance, the preparation starts. And, a couple days, it's literally like craziness. We're trying to do everything in a meticulous manner, making sure everything is perfectly done. The decoration, the flower decoration, decorating the gods, and most importantly, the god is Guru itself, the center of attraction, and making sure that everything goes fine, and then we offer our prayers. So of course, Guru Puja is the ultimate, and when it is concerning your Guru, of course you want to make every possible effort to decorate and do every service to the best of your abilities. Rows and rows of shining lights would light up the area surrounding the mosque. And Shamkarna, the fine horse, would be standing all ready at the gate, decorated heavily. Suddenly, Tatya Patil would arrive along with other people and come and sit near Baba, ready to accompany him. Although Baba was ready to leave, he would keep sitting where he was, waiting for Tatya till he came. Only when Tatya Patil put his hand under Baba's armpit to help him get up, would Baba be really ready to go from there to the Chavadi. Tatya called Baba Mama, Uncle. Such was their mutual affection that there is no parallel to the feeling of affinity between them. The usual kafni covering his body with the baton tucked under his armpit and carrying with him the clay pipe with tobacco and a piece of cloth flung over the shoulders. When Baba was thus ready, Tatya would cover him with a beautiful jerry bordered shela, arranging it properly on his head. At the foot of the wall behind a bundle of fagots would be lying the tip of which Baba would slightly push back for a moment with the big toe of his right foot. At once, he would put out the flame there with his right hand. Only then would he set out to go to the Chavadi. As Sai was about to set out, the musical instruments would begin to play, and torches and fireworks of various kinds would at once be lighted on all four sides. Some blew horns of different shapes and sizes, some rounded, some bow-shaped, others blew trumpets. Some would keep time by striking the metal plates with sticks and others on cymbals, and number of those who clapped their hands would be limitless. With a loving devotion, men and women walked in rows to the twanging and clanging of the veena and the drums, to the loud proclamations of Sai Nam and the singing of the bhajans. This is one of the ways you do a devotional service to your Guru. So everybody follows a certain methods. So there is nothing right and the wrong method, but everything is prescribed as per, whatever is prescribed was a tradition followed, and Baba has definitely approved of it. Likewise, in Lord Shri Krishna, in Uddhav Gita, he says, how do you worship the divine? There's a very beautiful chapter again in Bhagavatam too. It's the entire more than one or two chapters only talk about devotional service to the Lord. How do you do devotional service? That is exactly what you need to do. So it's important that you sing the glories, bhajans, musics, dance, and then decorate. It's always a celebration. That is how you celebrate the divine Lord Almighty, and especially your Guru, because he's none other than the God himself. Some walked in the procession carefully, balancing the banners. Others flaunted banners with pictures of the eagle on them. And thus would they proceed, dancing and singing bhajans merrily. The procession would set out amid great rejoicing, with flying banners, the loud beating of drums and metal plates, sounding of horns, and the noisy quavering and dancing of the horse as the loud proclamations of glory to Baba resounded in the air. In such tumult and noise of the musical instruments, Baba would set out from the mosque. As he approached the step, the staff bearers would loudly proclaim Baba's name. To the accompaniment of tals, tambourines and drums, some played the veena, some kept time with chiplis, while the devotees sang bhajans with a sincere love and devotion. As some devotees walked happily carrying flags and banners, others walked on either side of Baba, holding a chavari over his head and fanning him. Some walked ahead spreading out sheets, some single and some double folded, on which Baba walked, while others held his hands and yet others held the chavari and waved fans. While Tatya Sahib held Baba's left hand, Malsapati held the right. Bapu Sahib Jog held the large and lofty umbrella over his head, and so proceeded Baba to the Chavadi. How beautiful, Imagine, it's such a ceremony. You are going in the procession. You just get lost in the divine. You attain that oneness right then and there. It's completely a different world. You get teleported completely into a different world. Same as, when Lord Shri Krishna performed the Ras Leela with gopis, they were completely transported. They experienced that oneness with the divine. In that entire Ras Leela, each gopi had her own Krishna to dance with. How sweet and how beautiful it is. And that is exactly what Shri Krishna says, to each his own. Though he was the only one there, but he manifested himself into so many different Krishnas. So every gopi had her own Krishna. It's like, the Jivatma is becoming one with the Paramatma. That's what it means, because there's no Jivatma, there's only one, that is the Paramatma alone. There's only one soul. that is the super soul. But when you have a body, you think you're separate than the Paramatma. So that is called the union with the divine, that is attaining the yoga. And Lord Shri Krishna very beautifully fulfills this oneness with the gopis. And there's a very beautiful chapter on how the Ras Leela was performed. You must go and study about it. And in that it describes the moment the gopis heard the flute of Lord Shri Krishna, they literally ran, leaving everything that the way it was. Some the earrings dropped, and for someone, the pallu, the dupattas fallen off. They can't even remember anything, but they just ran, and then they met their Krishna, and then the more beautiful Ras Leela was performed. How sweet! Just imagining it is such an exciting thing. But imagine what happens when you actually experience that divine communion. So, for which you have to grow into your devotion. How do you grow into devotion? This is one of the ways. When you sing the praises, be lost in the divine, the bhajans, the kirtans, with a beautiful decoration of your gods. So in whatever capacity that you can, you should offer the devotional service to your ishta. The ishta is one who you adore the most. And when you do all of this, then you become completely teleported, transported to a different level. And then you will experience that commune with the divine. And when you experience that divine commune, then there is nothing else for you to attain. You're completely merged. That is exactly how Mirabai used to be. Though she was the princess, she was the queen, yet she lived in such a simple manner. She experienced the divine commune with Lord Shri Krishna by singing the bhajans and praises. She was always lost in singing the beautiful bhajans. You must go listen to Meera bhajans. It's very beautiful. Every word is so profound. How beautifully she expresses her love through those bhajans. That is exactly what it is, an aspect of a devotional service. So, while Tatya Sahib held Baba's left hand, Malsapati held the right. Bapu Sahib Jog held the large and lofty umbrella over his head, and so proceeded Baba to the Chavadi. In front walked the fine, copper-coloured, heavily ornamented horse named Sham Karna, the bells on his feet jingling as he walked. How sweet! The staff bearers walking in front loudly proclaimed Baba's name from time to time. Some carried the large umbrella on his head, as others held the Chavadi. The musical instruments resounded, the devotees hailed Baba time and again, and as the devotees walked on, even the staff bearers joined in with loud proclamations to Baba and loving devotion. As they repeatedly hailed Baba, there were also proclamations of Hari Nam from time to time from the throng of devotees who walked keeping time to the beat of the drums, cymbals, etc. And as the procession approached the place of assembly, the bhajan singers in front who had been shouting Baba's name gleefully would now halt. Then, as the tals, the tambourines, and the drums all struck together, and the musical strains of the bhajan sung so lovingly swelled into tumultuous sound of music, the proclamation of Sai Nam capped it all. Alongside walked men and women, all steeped in the spirit of joy and love. The bhajans generated and pronounced Sai Nam loudly, which seemed to fill the air. Absolutely. In that excitement, you're so intoxicated, you're so excited that you cannot hear anything, and you want to sing to top of your voice, and the air completely fills with that proclamations. How beautiful that is. As the sky above resounded with the music, the heart of the spectators swelled with joy. Such was the glorious, spectacular procession to the Chavadi, which was worth watching. Its beauty, its splendor has no comparison. The radiance emanating from Sai's countenance as he stood in front of the Chavadi was like the brilliant glow of red-hot gold, a glow that overspreads the sky at dawn and in the evening. The radiance of his face at that time was like the brilliance of the rising sun, or like that of the pure fountain of life. Who will ever forego such a gain? Oh, blessed indeed was the darshan at that time of that red glowing face as he stood facing the north with a single-minded concentration as if beckoning to someone. Amid the twanging and clanging of musical instruments, Maharaj, his heart full of joy, would move his right hand up and down repeatedly, With a silver tray full of flowers in his hand, Dikshit, the most excellent devotee, would then shower the flowers all over him again and again. And Kaka Sahib would thus keep on showering roses mixed with gulal on his head all the time with a loving devotion. As he showered the gulal covered rosebuds, the tambourines, tals, and drums would strike in unison in one great tumultuous sound. Absolutely. See, everybody follows a certain way of doing devotional service. An example I will give you. I think I must have narrated the story, but I will narrate it once again. We visited a temple in South India in Sri Rangam. It is about the Vishnu, the Vishnu temple. It's the Sri Ranganath Swami temple. So they follow a process like very beautifully that they call it a Vishwaroop Darshan, in which the way they wake up the Lord. How do they wake up? It's a very beautiful process itself. It's done in a very divine manner. So they have all the the horse, like similarly here Baba was going on a horse, but there is a horse, Uchishrava, there is Kamadenu, and there is this elephant, Airavat. And what they do is they go on the elephant, they go to the river Kaveri on a copper pot or a silver, sorry, in a silver pot, they'll fill the water, the fresh water from the river Kaveri. And this is like early morning, around 5:30 a.m. And they come in a procession. There's all this mridangam, like here tambourines, right? They play the mridangams, and there is a person who's singing beautiful praises of Lord Vishnu, and he's singing those very beautiful musicals. There is veena and all these different instruments played. So everything is very beautifully organized, and they're all waiting for the Lord to be awakened from his sleep. So what they do is when on the elephant sits one of the priests, and he's holding that copper pot. So then the elephant is coming, and just before the shrine, there's before one door, they make the elephant stand there. After all the musics, the bhajans, everything is over, they chant certain hymns. They chant those hymns, and then they say, okay, I don't know what exactly those words are, but I can understand saying, now we are going to awaken the Lord, and then just move the curtain. The moment they move the curtain, the elephant sprinkles the water from his trunk, and it's a beautiful spring, like it's falling on the Lord. It's very sweet, and that's such a beautiful moment to experience how nicely you wake up the Lord. What does that mean? It also means that when we even wake up the Lord, we wake up with some sweet praises and with sweetness in life, not with something bitter or anything, right? Similarly, all these processions and the service, the devotional service we do, so that even our heart is always emerged and always embedded in having those beautiful thoughts and the goodness of what the divinity is all about. We should not think anything bad, ugly, or whatever. So you're always in that state of Sachidanand, that blissful state. It doesn't mean once the devotional service is over, then you go back into the material world and then get lost and completely get disconnected. See, we have to always be in the divine state. Yes, we have to do every job. Our duties are there. We have to do our duties, but in devotion, in like work is worship. In everything, you have to see the divine, and just that sweet thought will make you excel in everything that you do. So everybody, every temple, every god, they all follow certain methods. So the devotional worship or the devotional service is offered in different ways. So everybody follows certain ways, and there's nothing right or wrong. But yes, what we follow has to be prescribed as per the scriptures. That's exactly what we do, which is taught by our Krishna Guruji in Krishna Ashram. Which is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Uddhav Gita, and Bhagavad Gita too. So likewise, similarly, when you go to different temples, an example would be if you go to the Padmanabha Swami temple in Kerala, in Tiruvananthapuram. Now there, they worship in a very different manner. So over there is no lights. The only way you can see the God is in the lamp, the light of the lamp, and how beautiful it is. It was just the most gorgeous the divine moment, just going there and seeing the God in that light. It is beautiful. They don't have any lights except for the light of the lamp. So everywhere there are different ways they serve the Lord in devotion. So you must adapt to your own, that which you feel nice, whatever the prayers you want to recite or whatever the bhajans you want to do. It is all about pleasing the divine. So when you do that as a regular practice, you're evolving in that devotional service every single day, and that you will become one with that, those devotion, that words of what you praise, you become that exactly. That's what you love in your heart. It'll spring open, and then it's indescribable. I cannot explain how beautiful it is. You'll understand the sweetness of those words. And sometimes you experience, the body can express itself in form of tears or through horripilations, whatever you might feel. Your innermost being is just expressing that love. It's a very divine way to worship the divine, your guru, your God, everybody. So practice something that will make you feel and evolve, make you feel that oneness with the divine, and also evolve on your spiritual path. As the sky, okay, we finished this. The radiance emanating from Sai's countenance as he stood, okay, we finished this too, sorry. Oh, blessed indeed was the darshan at the time of the red glowing face as he stood facing the north with a single-minded concentration, as if beckoning to someone. Amid the twanging and clanging of musical instruments, Maharaj, his heart full of joy, would move his right hand up and down repeatedly. With a silver tray full of flowers in his hand, Dikshit, the most excellent devotee, would then shower the flowers all over him again and again. And Kaka Sahib would thus keep on showering roses mixed with gulal on his head all the time with a loving devotion. And as he showered the gulal covered rosebuds, the tambourines, tals, and drums would strike in unison in one great tumultuous sound. The villagers and Baba devotees came lovingly to take his darshan. At such time, Baba's face would reflect a reddish glow, quite marvelous and very beautiful. Seeing the play of that radiance on his face, the eyes of the beholders would open wide in awe and wonder. Their loving hearts would feel a new eagerness, as if all the sorrows of their worldly life had vanished. Oh, how marvelous, how wonderful was that divine radiance, as lustrous as the rising sun. In front, the drums would beat loud and for long. For an hour and a half, three quarters, Baba would stand in that one spot, facing the north and moving his right hand up and down constantly. Baba's glowing complexion was like the golden yellow of the innermost core of the Ketaki flower, and with a slight reddish glow on it, the beauty of which the tongue just cannot describe. Eyes alone can relish it, absolutely. Sometimes these divine moments and the experiences you cannot describe adequately in any words. You just have to experience that and just be content with the eyes that you see. Beyond that, you can't put it to words. And once Malsapati was seized with a frenzy and began dancing, one just marveled at Baba's unbroken concentration in the face of it. Malsapati would stand at his right, holding the end of Baba's kafni in his hand. To Baba's left would walk Tatya Kote, holding a lantern in his hand. Oh, how wonderful were all these festivities, that glorification too of love and devotion. To see its marvel, all the great and the wealthy flocked together. Baba's beautiful face with its reddish, fair complexion and a radiance all on its own was beyond description, and the eyes of the beholders would be filled with an inner blissful joy as they gazed upon him. Absolutely. Throngs of devotees walked slowly on either side, overcome with a boundless loving devotion and a blissful joy which overpowered their hearts. Now, in the days to come, no one will ever be able to see with their own eyes such a glorious celebration. Gone are those days. Gone forever the time. Memories are the only solace for the mind now. In this way, amid ceaseless melodious strains From the various musical instruments and loud proclamations of glory to Sai, Baba was led to his seat in the Chavadi and offered puja with all the sacred rites and rituals. A white awning would be tied. Chandeliers, lamps would be hung, the beauty and brilliance of whose lights would be redoubled by being reflected in the mirrors that were set up in different places. Such was the sparkle and glitter of that spectacle. All the devotees gathered together and then went to the Chavdi. It was Tatyaba who would get Baba's seat ready and then lead him to it by holding his hand. And when that most excellent seat was ready with a long stuffed bolster at the back to recline on, and once Baba was seated on it, they would put on him the long outer garment. They would dress him up in fine, rich clothes and with joyous hearts, offer him puja with great devotion. Loudly, they would sing arti and offer him garlands and bouquets. Sandalwood paste would be applied first, followed by fragrant perfumes being rubbed on his hands. Fine clothes and ornaments would be put on him, ending with the putting of a crown on his head. Sometimes a gold crown, sometimes a fine, rich, gem studded turban with a plum would be put on, while his throat would be adorned with diamonds and rubies. One, I must say this, Baba never liked any of this. You need to understand, no great masters will like. The only reason he allows anyone to do this is because he's just pleasing his devotees. It is their, it's their desire to adorn Baba with all these things. But Baba personally never liked any of these things. I think he will mention in one of the stories, let us listen, but this is something he doesn't like. Likewise, my Krishna Guruji will say, I don't want any of this. Even for him, his garment is just his jeans and his white t-shirt. Absolutely simple. He doesn't like to wear any of these things. And only during the festivals and when we celebrate, he'll wear that dhoti. And that too exactly for that 1 hour. That's it. Beyond that, he's not interested. And he doesn't like to be adorned with any jewelry, anything. So the great masters are like this. They are the Avdutas. In fact, today's satsang, my Guruji from, the Samarth Ramdas is Das Bodh. In that, there's a chapter on charity. And in that, Samarth Ramdas was saying how when you have to walk on the path of spirituality, you have to go and, take alms. And asking for bhiksha is very important. Why? Because that is to destroy the ego. Please understand, when people adorn any great master or the divine with any of these precious gems, gold, all that, it's only their desire. They are, these masters are avadutas. They are desireless being. They do not covet anything or they don't want any of these things. And on the contrary, it's very painful. My Guruji will always make this very beautiful joke. Imagine your made Balaji stand like this with so much of jewelry and all that thing. You think he likes it? On the contrary, he's like, can you just remove all of this? I cannot. He says 24/7, he needs to stand like this, blessing people, and he's decked with all these heavy ornaments and all that. Would you like, imagine you standing even for a half an hour with so much of decked jewelry, flowers, whatnot, and you keep applying sandy paste, you name it, so many different things. It's just irritating. But my Guruji will say it's not exciting. Similarly, for these great masters, it's exactly like that. We think they enjoy that. Yeah, they enjoy the fragrance of incense stick, or you apply sandalwood paste, but not deck them with so much jewelry and literally, make them just fall off. That's not what they love. They don't like it. And that is the truth. But yes, the Divine Lord and the Divine Lord Almighty, the Gurus, just to keep up the desire of the devotees, they'll allow them to do that. Because that's the devotees' ichha, that they want to adorn and admire them. So just because of the devotion, they let them do that. Not otherwise. So, sometimes a gold crown, sometimes a fine rich gem-studded turban with a plum would be put on, while his throat would be adorned with diamonds and rubies. Necklaces of pure white pearls round the neck would then follow. Unique was the beauty of that beautiful dress that sparkled in the light of the lamps. Fragrant musk would be used to draw the black vertical line on his forehead with a black round mark like the Vaishnavites added to it in the middle. If that rich heavy purple robe with its intricate zari work in gold happened to slip from the shoulders, it was safely, delicately held in place from either side and quite unnoticed by anybody. The crown of the turban had similarly to be held in place, carefully and softly, from the back to the devotees, who took turns for though their greatest worry and fear was that if it as much as touched his head, he would at once throw it away. Yet their eager, loving desire for him to wear it was equally strong. See, I said, right, Baba never liked it. But the desire of those devotees, he just let them, fulfill their wish by him accepting to wear. But otherwise, he never liked it. And could Sai, who had intuitive knowledge of everything, not have known this secret of theirs? But seeing their love and eagerness, he would lovingly and knowingly hold his silence. What adornment would a gold-threaded rich robe to be to one who is glorified in his self-knowledge? Absolutely. What beauty could a crown bestow on one who is adorned by an inner peace? Absolutely. What crown? What is all these robes with jari and all? They're absolutely nothing. It's like when they go back to ashes, they become ashes, right? There's nothing. For them, they are Sachidanand, somebody who is that knowledge himself, that truth, knowledge, bliss. What uses of those fancy garments? Does he need to show off? Nothing. They don't even care about it. And yet they adorned Baba with various ornaments of rare beauty and put a mark with saffron sandalwood paste on his forehead. Some put necklaces of diamonds and pearls around his neck. Some drew a mark on his forehead, and Baba indulged his loving devotees by allowing them these little acts of devotion. I think I already discussed this. When all the adornment was complete and the crown put on the head with pearl necklaces shining around the throat, the splendor, the beauty was unsurpassed. Nana Sahib Nimonkar would hold over Baba's head a round white excuse me, sorry, a round white cloth umbrella with a frilled border, which, along with the stick to which it was fixed, would rotate round and round. Very lovingly, Bapu Sahib would wash his Guru's feet and offer oblations, etc., with great devotion. He would then perform Baba's puja properly. Placing a silver dish in front of Baba, he would place Baba's feet in it and wash them very respectfully. Taking a vati, that is metal bowl, of saffron, he would apply the paste to Baba's hands and put a pan in his closed fist. During this whole process, Baba's face would wear a very pleasant expression. When Baba was seated in his cushioned seat, Tatyaba and others would be standing there holding Baba's hand, helping him to be seated. They would then respectfully bow at his feet. Clean and spotless, as the floor of the Chavadi always was, it was rubbed and scrubbed hard until it shone like crystal. And there came together all the people, both young and old, who were absorbed in Sai's love. When Baba was thus seated, reclining against the bolster, Chavri, fans, etc., were waved on him from either side. Madhura would then crush the tobacco and prepare the clay pipe, which he handed over to Tatyaba. First, Tatyaba would puff at it. When a flame came from the tobacco, Tatyaba would give it to Baba, and after that first puff, Baba would pass it on to Malsapati. Till the pipe was finished, it made rounds from one to another with Malsapati, Shama, and Tatya. Blessed indeed was that pipe. Inanimate though it was, how great was its good fortune. Even we, the living beings, can never equal the true, sincere service it rendered. Absolutely. The similar goes for Lord Shri Krishna's flute. Every different object associated with him. Example is flute, the cow, every different things like those peacock, those different flowers, those plants around him, every little thing and everything that was used to adorn him. They were, though inanimate, they were doing service to the divine Lord Almighty. How blessed is it? Imagine the flute is constantly touching the lip of Lord Sri Krishna. How intoxicating, how divine. Imagine the greatness of it. And if Lord is wearing the footwear, imagine the greatness of that footwear too. Everything is serving the divine master. The robe he is wearing, every single thing, every aspect. Actually, this is very beautifully expressed in one of those scriptures, I think of Gopi Gita or Geet Govind, in that it's talking about the devotional service, how the gopis indulge Lord Sri Krishna, the way they decorate. In fact, there's a very beautiful story how Tulsi used to go and figure out which spot and what kind of flowers needs to be used for decorating and making arrangement for him to meet with Radha Rani. Such were the activities. These are all called devotional service. It's not the way you look at it in a crass way. No, 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 no. They are They are very deep devotional service of how you make the divine meet. See, you need to understand. Radha Rani is none other than the Lord Shri Krishna himself. It is in play. The Leela is about enjoying the sweetness. There's a very beautiful bhajan which Lord Adi Shankaracharya has composed, that is called Madhurashtakam. I've already mentioned about it. You must go listen to Madhurashtakam. It describes the sweetness of Lord Shri Krishna, how every aspect of Lord Shri Krishna is sweet. Madhu means sweet. Every aspect of him, Madhurashtakam, the Ashtakam, all the aspects in him, how sweet is it? Like, his eyes, how beautiful, the way he speaks is sweet. Like they say, Gopir Madhura means even the gopis, being with the gopis, they are sweetness alone. Yamuna Madhura, Virchir Madhura, Bhuktam Madhuram, Yuktam Madhuram. Every aspect, Salilam Madhuram, Vadanam Madhuram means the way you walk, the way you speak, everything is Madhur, so sweet. Madhurashtakam, you must go listen. That's so beautiful. It makes you get lost in it. That's exactly how they're describing Babas, how every aspect of Baba is so beautiful. There is sweetness in everything. That is what devotional service means. How do you get devotion? When you do all of these acts. So you must go study about the beautiful leelas that the gopis and Krishna performed during his stay in Vrindavan. Even today, Lord Sri Krishna is very much there. That's what you have to feel. Only those who are devoted will experience that love. It's so sweet. He's just playing, he's 24/7 playing. Like today, my Krishna Guruji made a very beautiful play. And every time he does this, it's a way of how he imparts a knowledge. He imparts a lesson. And we did a very beautiful prayer today, being Sharad Purnima. It's a very auspicious day. And he said, yes, going forward, we will be celebrating Sharad Purnima as part of one of our celebrations. It's extremely important to celebrate the Lord. Some of his very important events in life, we must celebrate. And we must also bring that communion within us with the divine. How do you do that? By, celebrating him in whatever capacity that you can, by singing his prayers, by singing his glories, by remembering and reminiscing in those moments of how the Lord must have played those beautiful Ras Leela. That is what you have to do. So let us come back. He who was the very image of renunciation, why all the necklaces of emeralds to him? But when offered by the devotees, he would wear them around his neck to satisfy the devotees' fond desire for festivities. Beautiful necklaces of gold and emeralds and pearls in 8 or 16 strands, marvelously interminglingly with lotus flowers, adorned his neck. Garlands of tulsi, basil, and fragrant jasmines lay around his neck, reaching down to his feet, and around his neck sparkled pearl ornaments of rare brilliance, and a necklace of emeralds with a shining gold locket lay on his breast, while a black round mark on his forehead enhanced the beauty of the whole personality. How could he be called a fakir? Indeed, he looked more like the great powerful Vaishnava, Vishnu devotee. The umbrella rotated the fans, waved to and fro over his head, which was adorned with a gold-bordered shela. As the auspicious music played in the background, it was usually Jog who would perform the arti with 5 lights. We call it Pancharti, burning brightly, which would be waved around Baba. After the puja was performed with the customary 5 puja articles, he would carefully pick up the large, showy pancharati with the lights and camphor and wave it around Baba. The arti being over, one by one, all the devotees would prostrate before Baba in obeisance and go to their respective homes. And after offering Baba the tobacco filled clay pipe, perfume, and rose water, and taking his permission, as Tatya Ba prepared to leave for home, Baba would say to him, "Look after me. Go, but inquire after me from time to time during the night, all night." Tatyaji would assure him, and leaving the Chavdi, turned homeward. In this way, when all the people had gone, Baba would open up the bundle with his own hands and spread out layer upon layer of folded dhotis, thus making up his bed with his own hands. About 60 to 65 such snow white sheets would be laid one upon the other, and then Baba would lay himself down upon them. Thus, the story of Chavdi has been narrated so far just as it took place. Now, the remaining story will be related in the next chapter. May the listeners forgive me. So unfathomable is the greatness of this Sai that though I say I will be brief, no limits can be set, and it keeps on growing. Now, the story of Sai's Handi and whatever remains of the other stories will be narrated in the following chapter. Please give your wholehearted attention. Ceaseless chanting of his Guru's name is to Hemad the only weal, material and spiritual. Bowing his head at the Guru's feet, he has a sense of fulfillment, for it is only at his feet that the 4 highest goals of human life can be achieved. So we'll be to all. Here ends the 37th chapter of Shri Sai Satcharita, called The Description of the Chavadi Ceremony, as inspired by the saints and the virtuous, and composed by his devotee Hemad Pant. We have 20 minutes more, so we will begin the next chapter. It's chapter 38, the description of Handi. O Guruvara, you who bring joy to the whole world and are eager to help the devotees achieve their desired ends, and to remove the threefold afflictions of those who seek refuge at your feet. We make obeisance at your feet. O most munificent one, protector of the humble and deliverer of the devotees that surrendered to you. It was for doing good to the people that you have taken avatar. Hail to you, O destroyer of duality. Glory to you, O captor of the devotees' hearts and their liberator from worldly life. O most compassionate Guru Raya, we hail thee. What good fortune of ours has come to fruition that we saw your holy feet and experienced the joy of your company. But gone is that time never to return. The beautiful image that took shape out of the pure molten liquid of the true self poured into the mold of Brahman is the Sai, the greatest among the saints. Sai himself is Atmaram, or the self. He alone is the abode of happiness, so perfect, himself satiated in all his desires. He makes his devotees desireless too. He is described in brief as one who has the one who has the quality of swallowing death himself, with the unique power of all the Brahmins and Kshatriyas who are the followers and protectors of the Dharma. He who snaps the bondages of birth and death, etc. Before him, I, a dull, ignorant one, bow in obeisance. In the last chapter, I described very lovingly the Chavdi ceremony of Sainath. Now in this chapter, listen to the description of the ever delightful Handi. An infant only knows how to eat, but does not know what to eat. And it is the mother who has to care for him by feeding him milk or morsel of food. So also does Mother Sai, who makes me hold the pen and out of his love for his devotees has got this composition written effortlessly from me. I must say this. This is so very true. You know what? When you want to narrate the life stories of the divine master or even want to narrate your experiences, you don't even have to make any effort. All you need to do is just start and write. Whatever the words have to come, the words are of his wisdom alone. I very strongly believe in this. And when I open my computer and I just sit to write, he himself gets it described the way he wants. It's not the mind that writes it, it's the heart from which the knowledge comes from him. He's the universal one. He's the universal mind with whom I'm connected. And the words come from his wisdom alone. I cannot say I have written this exactly what Hemad is saying. From every yuga, respectively, the Dharma Shastra has prescribed proven means to attain moksha, as for Krita or Satyuga, penance, for Treta, the attainment of knowledge, for Dwapara, yajna or sacrifice, and for Kali, that is charity. One should keep giving all the time in charity, but its main significance lies in the appeasement of hunger. Hence, Annadanam. Annadana means where you offer food in charity, or feeding in charity regularly is the chief among all actions. At the stroke of 12 at noon, one is extremely agitated without food, as with us or so with others. He who realizes this in his heart is indeed a good man. Among all prescribed rules of conduct, the first and most important is Annadanam, where if you consider carefully, none other is greater than this. Food is just another form of Parabrahma, and all the living creatures are born out of it. Food alone is the means of sustaining life, and after death, it is the food that it merges. When a guest arrives, the householder should satisfy him by offering food, whatever may be the time of the day. Those who turn them away without offering it invite adversity unmistakably. See, we in our Hindu culture, or rather Sanatana Dharma, our traditional culture, it is believed Adati Daivo Bhava means guests are God. So whoever visits your home, you must always offer them something. Do not send them empty stomach. It is a very important culture because the God comes in the form of a guest. So you're offering it to the Parabrahma himself. So never send anybody, no matter who they are, without eating food or at least a glass of water. It's very important. When giving clothes, vessels, etc., it is to be considered whether the receiver is deserving of it or not. But for food, no such consideration is needed. Whoever comes to the door at whatever time, it is not proper to show disrespect to him. Absolutely. See, when you give clothes, vessels, etc., it has to be considered whether someone is deserving or not, but not for food. Food is something that you have to offer to everybody. You don't differentiate but anyone. And if you do, you disrespect him, which means you're directly disrespecting the Lord Almighty. Such is the great importance of Annadan as described in the Shrutis, Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 3. Hence, Baba also satiated people by offering them food and followed the custom handed down by tradition. Money or anything else given in charity is incomplete without food. That is Annadan. Is there any splendor to the stars without the moon? Will a necklace have a beauty without a locket? A varan among the shadrasa or the 6 flavors of or tastes, so does Annadan bring the highest merit among all the meritorious deeds. A spire without a pinnacle, a lake without a lotus will always be wanting in beauty. As bhajans without loving devotion, a married woman without kumkum or the red mark on the forehead, effort of singing without a sweet voice or buttermilk without a pinch of salt. So it's charity without Annadan. Annadan is charity of food offering. Even among the receivers of Annadan, those who are afflicted, weak, blind, lame, deaf and poor should be given food first. Relatives and other people should come after. Now, for the sake of those who are curious, I shall make an attempt to give a general idea of Baba's Handi to the listeners. In the courtyard of the mosque, a big fireplace would be made on which would be placed a broad-mouthed vessel filled with the required amount of water. Sometimes he would prepare sweet rice, sometimes a pulao with pieces of meat in it. Sometimes lumps of dough squeezed and shaped by the hand would be added to be cooked with the varan. Varan is the basic dal which you make. We call it annapurna when you're offering with rice and dal. So varan is the traditional Maharashtrian dish. That's a basic food that we eat. Like we say varan bhat, varan and rice, and then we say chapati and sabji. That's the basic traditional Maharashtrian food. Along with these, sometimes he would gently slip into the boiling varan lumps of wheat flour dough, patted into panagas or rodgas. Himself grinding the spices on the stone slab, he would make all the preparation for cooking. He would then pat tiny cakes from the finely ground moong dal and slip them softly into the handi. In the hope of attaining heaven, those who perform yajna and get the animals killed with rites and rituals offer them to the sacrificial fire. Even Brahmins eat the leavings of the meat. This is called slaying sanctioned by the Shastras. Baba also sent for the mullah to recite Fatiha or mantras according to the Islamic scriptures, Quran, with proper rites, got the she-goat to be slaughtered. This handi was of two types, sometimes large and sometimes small, cooking food in it. He used to feed those who wished to partake of it. The one that supplied food for 50 was the smaller of the two, while that which contained food enough for 100, with some food still remaining with the larger one. He himself went to the grocer to buy the ingredients and settle the account. Here there was no question of credit. Money was paid in cash, by hand. Salt, chilies, condiments like cumin seed, black pepper, vegetables, coconut kernel. Baba himself purchased it all, considering the requirements carefully. Sitting in the mosque, Baba would himself set up the quern with his own hands and grind wheat, pulses, jowar, etc. All the effort for the handi was made tirelessly by Baba himself. Even the task of grinding spices was undertaken by him with great sincerity. To make the fire in the fireplace burn slow or bright, he himself moved the fagots up and down repeatedly. Having soaked the pulses in water, he would begin grinding them on the stone slab and prepare a piquant dish, adding to it asafoetida, cumin seed, coriander leaves, etc. Making a oil about an arm and a quarter in length of the kneaded dough, he would divide it into balls, rolling each one to make a large chapati or flat thin wheat cake. Adding jowar flour to an already measured amount of water, he would put some buttermilk in it to make it into ambil. Ambil is it's a liquid. It's very healthy and it's quite cooling as well. So this is offered in temples and it's extremely good. So during summer when the heat is too much, this is one of the staple food which is eaten in the villages. Or thin sour gruel in the handi. Then, very lovingly, Baba would serve this ambil with his own hands to all along with other food with great respect. Thus, making sure that the handi was cooked properly, he would take it off the fire and carry it to the mosque. Then after offering fatiha or prayer to that food with proper rites by the Maulavi, he would first send the prasad to Malsapati and Tatya. Then the remaining food would serve with him with his own hands and would feel great contentment by satisfying the hunger of the poor and the meek. How beautiful is it? You know, in our ashram, in Krishna ashram, my Krishna Guruji will make the prasad. We call it goat shira. We already discussed this. Every festival, when we have to offer the goat Shira, my Guruji is the one who will make it with his own hands, and he cooks many other food varieties too. And especially the basundi. So these are some of the sweets which Lord Shri Krishna likes, and we offer it as naivedya. Sorry, not prasad, as naivedya. So once the offering is done, and when you eat it, then it's called prasad. So my Guruji will personally, he himself with his own hands will make everything. And you know what? To eat from your Guruji's hand is a boon. It's a blessing. That's also a way to purify your sins, to purify your entire being, your body, your mind, your heart, your inner being. It purifies when you eat what is cooked by from your Guru's hands, from your Guruji's hand. It's a blessing. It redeems you of all your karmas. It removes your sins too. And it's his love and blessing. Then the remaining food Baba would serve with his own hands and feel great contentment by satisfying the hunger of the poor and the meek. And those desirous of eating would happily partake of the food till quite full, even as Baba pressed them to have more, saying lovingly, take some more. Oh, how great must be the merit of those who partook of this most satisfying meal. Blessed were those to whom Baba served food himself. Absolutely. Here, a doubt may naturally arise as to why Baba distributed without any reservations food with meat in it to many a devotee. No special effort is needed to clear this doubt. He would serve this food only to those who were habituated to non-vegetarian food. He would not even let them touch meat who had never eaten in their lives. He never did anything so thoughtless. Moreover, it was given only to him who had a strong desire for the prasad. When the Guru himself is giving the prasad, if the disciple has doubts as to whether it is proper or improper to eat it, that disciple will head for self-destruction and go to hell. Absolutely. See, when the Guruji gives anything, you must partake of it. Never have any doubt even once. Never question it. Many years back, when I was not a good eater at all, I would say, I don't want this, I don't want this. I didn't know about it. And every time my Guruji gave, I said, no, I don't want, I will say don't want. That is the biggest sin that I have made. But now we'll all wait for our Guruji to give us little bit prasad from his plate. And my Guruji is very particular, this is exactly how the Gurus are. He will ensure that everybody is well served. He doesn't like anybody eating, I'm dieting, I want to eat less. No. When you're sitting in the presence of a Guru, please know that you need to eat sumptuously and you will not put on any weight or anything. I must say this. My Guruji has said, you need to have this amount, 56 kg is what you have to gain. And I was a very poor eater. I was also skin and bones. I was underweight, and over a period of time I have attained that weight. And it's like he makes it so important that we eat and we stay healthy. And eating means holistic food. Today I will eat everything that is offered in my plate. Earlier I would never do that. I would keep, I don't like this, I don't like this. I might say it even today. Sometimes I do end up saying I don't like this, but it's just a saying. But I will still make sure I eat that food. It's not about having it's not having your palate have this taste likes and dislikes. You don't pamper and pander to your palate. It's not right. You have to always eat what is offered in your plate. You're not eating because you like something or you don't like something. So this is how you get trained when you are with the Guru, and he makes you eat everything. Like here it said, Baba, he's very sensitive. He will not let somebody who's not touched meat in their life eat non-vegetarian food. That's never the way the Gurus ever do. But when he wants you to eat something, he will give it to you whether you are liking it or not, and said, please eat this. And that time you need to eat, and accepting that as a prasad and his blessings alone. When the Guru himself is giving the prasad, if the disciple has doubts as to whether it is proper or improper to eat it, the disciple will head for self-destruction and go to hell. And Baba would see for himself through jokes and humor how far his devotees had become aware of this principle. As I write this, I recollect an anecdote in this context. Listen to it at your ease, O listeners, and for your own benefit. So we are already at the end of the hour. So I don't want to begin this new story. So let us stop here and we will continue from where we stopped, that is verse 53. on Monday. I wish you all a very happy weekend, and once again a very happy and a blessed Sharad Purnima. May Lord Shri Krishna, pull you on his path of love and devotion. May you attain your spiritual wheel. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Guru Natha Natha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.